Good morning, everybody. I just saw a question mark in the chat, and I think it was maybe just because it was so quiet. We are not going to start until 10:45. This is an opportunity for you to go back to the all the panelists. I think it's called like a gallery walk or something like that, or tabling. But anyway, feel free to take a break. Feel free to go back to the program contents, and then we're going to get started right at we're going to get started right at 10:45. We're so excited to be with you, but we're just going to rest our voices and breathe in and out until we get started.
If we knew we would have early attendees, we would have planned some music. So please enjoy the silence while we
Yes.
wait.
Yes. Nothing wrong with silence. I guess for those of you who are not taking a break, who are just breathing in and out with me and Florence here, if you want to put in the chat what you are hoping to gain out of today's session, that would be a great thing. We're going to share all of the materials following the session, so we would love to see that in the chat. Go ahead, Belidon. Please ask your question. And we may just absorb your questions. We may not answer them. We may wait until the session goes, but please go ahead and ask your questions if you have them. Can I please play the music? You should play some music just for you. With only 5 minutes left, I don't want to mess anything up or click anything or add anything. So we're just going to enjoy the silence for a moment.
Thanks for asking, though. And perhaps you could share your roles with us. We want to know who's listening to us this morning. So please feel free to share what role you play. Luisa, thank you. Yay. Feliz. Thank you, Katie. So we have a mixed group. That's awesome. Mm. This is really great to know. Thank you all so much for putting your roles in the chat. Two more minutes to go. Okay, a lot of power professionals in the house. Welcome.
So happy to have you. That's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, it's 10:45, and I think we are gonna get started. Good morning, everyone. We are so excited to have you here with us. My name is Florence Dennis, and I am with the Division of Multilingual Learners. I play the role of Director of Career Readiness. And I am joined with my colleague, Lois Jenkins, who will be introducing herself, and you're also going to be hearing from her. We want to welcome you to our session today. We have titled it Culturally Responsive and Sustaining Advising Towards Post-Secondary Readiness. So you are going to be learning a whole lot today. And we know that this presentation or webinar goes really fast, so we may not have the opportunity to maybe respond to every question you put in the chat, but please know that you can always reach out to us if you have any questions after this. Before we go on, we want to tell you a little bit about our division. So we are with the Division of Multilingual Learners, and we have values that we uphold within our division. And our values include anti racism, belonging, empowerment, equity, and excellence. And our mission is to empower our multilingual learners and immigrant students. We are a very small division within the New York City public schools, but with a mighty mission. And the way we empower our multilingual learners and immigrant students is that we create equitable access to rigorous instruction and high expectations in a welcoming environment that ensures that affirms that affirms the racial, cultural, and linguistic identities and diverse abilities of our students. And when we do this, we want to make sure that they are experiencing school with a sense of purpose and belonging, and that our students are able to graduate prepared for success in college, career, and in life. And so, as I mentioned before, we have a very big mission, and I believe I can speak for Lois also. We really believe in this mission, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to, implement this mission on a daily basis. So, a little bit more about how we function as a division. So, our program strategies are as follows. We have various programs and services that we offer to our schools. We also do a lot of capacity building. We offer a lot of PDs for educators and other school leaders. We also work a lot with families and making sure that we are empowering our families as well as working with various community partnerships. There are a few goals that we are focused on as a division. We are focused on increasing the percentage of multilingual learners that are meeting grade level standards in English and math. Another big goal for us is making progress in English language proficiency annually. We want to make sure that our students, when they come in, they are making progress. And finally, we want to make sure that our students are graduating in 4 years. And when we say 4 years, we mean by August. I'm going to go on and also just tell you a little bit more about how our division is broken down. Um, so the Division of Multilingual Learners is comprised of three main teams. The first one is the Research, Instruction, and Professional Learning team. We also have the School Support and Implementation team. This is the team that provides all of our data. So if you are familiar or if you receive any data regarding English language learners, this is the team that would generally generate those reports. And then we have the multilingual and immigrant student supports team, which is the team that I and Lois work in. And our role is really to support our students and families to make sure that our students are able to graduate from school in a safe environment and are able to make wise decisions regarding their post-secondary journey. And so you'll be hearing a lot more about this. I'm now going to pass it on to my colleague, Lois, who's going to introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about us.
Thank you, Florence. And Florence and I are going to go back and forth. So we're going to transition the sharing of the screen. So Florence, I'm ready whenever you are to take over sharing.
Yes.
And as Florence transitions us, and I transition us as well, share. Let me just say that part of the reason that we always start with all of the things that DML is about and does is so that you are aware of how we exist to support you. We do not want this to be, you came to a session and great, DML sounds great, but they have nothing to do with our lives. Instead, we want to make sure that you have regular access to all of our content. And that's part of the reason why we also show all of the other participants, all of the other parts of the Division of Multilingual Learner team. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see on the bottom right above the page number, there's a small bit.ly, bit.ly/DML MIST, MISST. You have to capitalize it. And that is our landing page. That's our homepage. We hope that you visit us there. We will share the slides. We will share the content from today. But we wanted to make sure that you will see that on almost every single slide, how to get in touch with us, not only us as individual people, but more importantly, the content that we provide and the calendar. So if you look here on the top right of the screen, you'll see that on our homepage, which don't go there now, but just so you know what it's going to look like. On our homepage, you'll see there's a drop-down menus for schools, for families, for partnerships, and for all of those various groups. You are absolutely welcome to click those drop-downs and get access to lots of materials and resources. We have curricular content, we have content for social workers and paraprofessionals, we have content for guidance counselors, we have content for everybody. So we want to make sure. And for those of you who are having trouble seeing the slides, I think there are some directions. If you scroll back up in the chat, you could probably join us using the YouTube link or join us using the Zoom link. Either of those might work. And if it doesn't work out, we will send the materials after the session. So here's just a quick example of our this was from April, our upcoming professional learning sessions from April. Not only do we put like the link to register, but we also put in the follow-up links and all of the materials. So if you ever miss one of our sessions, you can get in the habit of coming back to this calendar so that you can see what we've done before and get access to all the materials. Another sort of grounding slides is just here. So as you look here, you can see the graduation year, and this is only for our English language learner students, the graduation rate, 4 years. So you can see that over time, since 2018 to 2022, the graduation rate has increased. However, it is not, this includes some of COVID times. So there are times that are where Regents were not required during the school year. And so that, of course, meant a little bit more, there were changes in what students were required to complete as they work towards graduation. But we know that Regent scores will be factored into graduation requirements going forward. And so that is another reason why we do this work. So these are some resources that we want to make sure that you have. This is the supporting and partnering with families of multilingual learners. You will have to use your DOE login in order to access this content, but it is there for you. And we also have a lot of content that has been translated into the 9 most spoken DOE languages. So you can share it with families and with students, etc. This is another resource. Most of the things that we're sharing today will be, you'll be able to access them using this post-secondary readiness journey map. But we wanted to just give you a quick taste of what some of those things are like. And I myself was a teacher for a number of years, 14 years. And so I like to kind of be really chalk a lot into any of my sessions. So right now I just put up in, without a lot of formatting, just a couple of like things that I've heard people request, materials and content that people have requested a lot of. How do we get our late arrivals, people who come to us in 10th grade to graduate? And here are just some resources that are available to you and that you can share with students, again, families, content area teachers, et cetera. So I'm gonna breeze past this. Real quick, I was in the session that my colleagues from Division of Multilingual Learners did just a moment ago, Leslie Lohr and Shin Gao, and they talked about providing content in a proactive way to students who may be undocumented, which means every single student, because of course we cannot have conversations only with people who come to us and tell us that they're undocumented. We have to be able to proactively share that resources are available for undocumented students. And so I've just done, again, this is like a greatest hits of some of the resources that are available for students who may be undocumented. And then again, just some more resources. One thing that I hear a lot from families, from school staff, is that we don't always get as many parents into the conversation as we want to. As we're thinking about post-secondary planning, we want to have more conversations with families, but they don't attend the sessions or they don't come to the things that we provide for them. So these are just some examples of things that you can use to sort of mitigate some of that. I'm going to skip these and go directly to some of the tenets of culturally responsive and sustaining family engagement. And as I begin these tenets, I just want to name that no single person can be responsible for culturally responsive family engagement or culturally responsive student engagement with multilingual learners. It cannot just be that this belongs to the E&L teacher or this belongs to that single paraprofessional who speaks the languages that many students speak, or the single teacher. This has to be a group effort. This has to be something that everyone is responsible for and responsible to. So that's important to keep in mind. One tenet of culturally responsive family engagement is that we have to really believe that families' culture is an asset to students' learning. So often we think of difference as problematic, and difference doesn't need to be problematic. It can just be difference and still good enough. So this is a shift that we encourage folks to really continue to come back to, a practice just like, being kind to ourselves or trying to learn something new every day. Thinking of families as their culture as an asset that students bring with them, or as an asset that families bring with them, is a really important mindset. And we've highlighted a resource here, which is just a series of workshops that are ready to go. You could turnkey them, you could watch them for your own professional development, but that hyperlink is there to be able to provide some workshops devoted to culturally and ethnically and linguistically and racially diverse families. Another tenet of culturally responsive family engagement is that families' well-being is an essential precondition of student learning. So I took psychology in college, and I remember seeing that Maslow's pyramid where, if your basic needs are not met, if you're hungry, if you haven't slept, it's going to be really hard for you to think about beautiful art or to focus on, solving problems just for fun. Instead, you have to meet those essential essential needs first. And as you all know, you live in community with students and with families. It can be really hard to meet all of those needs, which is why we have to create spaces to. Someone has music in the background and it's difficult to hear the speaker. Okay. Which is why it can be really important to stay connected to larger groups like the Mayor's Office of Equity and Access or the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, like Project Open Arms. You want to make sure that you're connected to those resources that are going to meet the basic needs first before you start to think of the more esoteric needs as they come up. Another tenet is that it's important to meet families where they are. Yes, so don't just do events in your school building and expect that families need to come to those events. Also consider, and we'll share that as part of the slides as well, a hungry student will not learn, absolutely. We'll share in the slides as well some opportunities to consider doing perhaps a community walk or opportunities to invite families not just to come and be served, but to come and provide those resources to other families, provide that translation, provide those resource sharing hubs outside of the school building, not only inside your school building. And we have also included some resources like Talking Points, Remind, and Class Dojo, which enable you to send out messaging, harness the power of technology to send out messaging to students and families in the languages that they speak, so that you don't always have to translate everything in-house beforehand. You can also have access to some of that. Another tenet of culturally responsive family engagement is that families are partners in power. They are partners of equal power. I'll speak for myself. I definitely know that when I was in high school, there were some attitudes in my family that didn't necessarily align with my own attitudes as a student or with my school's attitudes as a school. However, as we share power, we're able to do a lot more. We have to see our families and ourselves and our students as partners of equal power. So we've highlighted a resource which is just encouraging educators to do some self-evaluation and to invite students to do some goal setting. And the last tenet of culturally responsive family engagement is that center the families who have been most excluded. As we know, those of us who've been in a classroom, we know that when we teach for the student who gets everything the first time, we leave out a lot of kids. When we teach to the student who needs additional support, when we make sure that they have what they need first, it actually enables us to hit everybody in the room as opposed to just the people who are able to receive it the most quickly. So those were the tenets of culturally responsive family engagement that I really wanted to hit. And now I think I have just a few more minutes. I'm going to just go back to a couple of my favorites that are not really associated with this, but I love to share them so that you can also share them with other folks. So this is one that I love to share. This came from our colleagues at the Office of Student Pathways, and they have this document. The way that it looks is more like this. It's a very big spreadsheet with a lot of rows and columns and tabs and all of those things. So it's really for an educator. But I hid a couple of columns, and I just did some CUNY schools where you can see the CUNY college name on the left. You see the total cost of attendance, the sticker price in the center, and then you see the actual cost for low-income students. And that the designation includes if your family income is anywhere south of $48,000. And seeing it as a chart is useful, as the chart that it is. But I also turned it in with just a little bit of Excel magic. I turned it into a chart this way so that students could see the difference between the actual cost of attendance and the average net cost for low-income students. And all of this is hyperlinked. So you have access to it. You can click through it. You can make it what you want it to be. But I really like to show this to students because as we begin conversations about college, sometimes we have in our minds, well, I can't afford it anyway. Why should I even be thinking about college? I can't afford it. And when you see something like this that shows that actually it may be more affordable than it looks, um, that can be really powerful for students. Okay. And in the interest of not taking up too much airtime, I'm going to transition us to the next section, which Florence will lead us through. Florence, would you like to share the screen again? Or would you like me to advance your slides?
If you could, that would be great.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you. All right, so it looks like we're doing pretty good on time. So thank you, Lois, for that presentation. So now I am going to be speaking about career readiness. This is something we take really seriously at the Division of Multilingual Learners. We want to make sure that all of our students have access to career readiness opportunities so that they are leaving us career ready and ready to, whether to go to college, whether to go directly into the workforce, but they are prepared with the skills that they need. So, what do we mean by career readiness? Career readiness is the process, right, of preparing students of any age with the essential skills they need to find, acquire, maintain, and grow within a job. So, some of the keywords here are any age, right? So they don't have to be in high school before we start career readiness. We can start as young as 6 years old, teaching them teamwork, right? Collaboration, listening, all of those skills. So that is what career readiness is all about. And within the Division of Multilingual Learners, we have developed some programs and opportunities for young people. So I want to share these with you so that you can take it back to your schools, share it with your principals, share it with other educators in your building, share it with your students. We really want to make sure this information is widely accessible. Can we go to the next slide? So I always like to start my presentation with this, you know, information on North Star by the chancellor, which is every New York City public school student will graduate on a pathway to a rewarding career, right? A long-term economic security and equipped to be a positive force for change. And I love this so much because it's so forward thinking and it's so intentional. But we also want to take this into context when it comes to our English language learners and our multilingual learners. That is our goal for them too. And that is what our division is determined to do, making sure that all of our multilingual learners in your building are equipped, right, with the skills they need to be on the pathway for a rewarding career, long-term economic security, and also to be a force for change in the world. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, we at the Division of Multilingual Learners offer so many opportunities for young people to become career ready. I'm going to share just a few with you. The first is career and technical education, which is something we really believe in and want every multilingual learner, every English language learner to have access to this important form of learning because we have found that it has so many benefits for multilingual learners and English language learners. I also want to talk to you a little bit about some of the career exploration opportunities that we have for students. And please feel free to share with your school community again. And also, we will be leaving you with some career readiness resources that are available to both your students and parents and educators. So now I want to talk to you about career and technical education. We believe this is so important and that English language learners need to have access to it so much that we have a professional learning series each fall to educate and enlighten our educators, our school community about what career and technical education is and why it's so important that our English language learners, multilingual learners have access to it. So, what is career and technical education? Career and technical education encompasses courses and programs of study in which students acquire challenging academic, technical, employability skills to succeed in post secondary education and in demand careers. Some things I want to point out in this definition is challenging academic, you know, courses, because a lot of times when we think about career and technical education, people just think about plumbing, HVAC, but career and technical education is so much more than that. Students actually have access to AP courses. So I don't want us to limit our definition of CTE. Next slide, please. And so, as you would see on this slide, career and technical education programs offers rigorous academic and industry certifications to students. Students are able to earn up to 7 credits or more. And the courses that they take part of, these courses or curriculum are technically reviewed by industry partners. So these are partners in the field already doing this work and reviewing these curriculum to make sure that, this is what young people really need to know as they pursue career in this field. Also, like I mentioned before, CTE programs, some of them offers AP courses. So you can go as high as you want to go in a CTE program. The other thing is that CTE programs that are certified are taught by CTE certified teachers. So that's also great. A lot of times these teachers already have industry background or industry experience. So they're coming in, having done the work and have very good experience before teaching students. And then finally, students who go through CTE are able to graduate with a CTE endorsed diploma, which is just a step higher than, the regular diploma. So these are all great reasons why we would want our students to pursue CTE program. But how can they pursue it if we don't tell them about it, right? And the fall semester is coming up. Students and parents will be making decisions as to what high schools they want to go to. And that's why this information is really critical. As you hear about it, please share with your multilingual learners. Let them know this is available to them. This is accessible to them. Some of the things that, students, some of the certifications that students acquire in CTE programs include Certiport. They're able to get certified by Adobe, Autodesk, and these are like industry certification. If any student wanted to go into the construction field or even architecture, OCHA is a really good one. And by being part of a CTE program, you are able to get that. And I think the last thing I want to mention is that, our specialized high schools also offer CTE programs. So we have CTE programs in Brooklyn Tech, in LaGuardia, in the High School of Math, Science, and Engineering, and also at Staten Island Technical High School. So CTE is not limited to just our regular high school, but you can also find them in specialized high schools. So please do encourage your parents and students to take a look at it. Just a fun fact that I want to share with you, that, there are over 260 CTE programs in New York City. And these programs exist in 130 schools. So you might be on here and your school may have a CTE program or your school may not. But the fact is that we have so many great CTE programs all across the city, and we want you to share this information with your students. So the next slide, we will take a look at some of the programs that are available in New York City. So we have programs just range in all types of career. We have business. We have, if students is interested in information technology, there are programs all across the city. Automotive programs. We have programs in art and design. We have programs in medical. Even if a student wanted to become a nurse, they could, start their nursing education in high school. How cool is that? If students wanted to become engineers, they could do that. We have architecture program, and we even have aviation program. Yesterday, I went on a field trip with a student from Manhattan High School. We went to the New York Times. Two of the young girls wanted to be pilots. And to me, I was just like, wow, only if they knew that they could go to aviation high school and begin that journey, right? When you go to aviation high school, they literally have like an airplane. They are partners at Delta and all of these big airlines. So students get a jump start in their career by going to CTE, going through a CTE program. Next slide. And I think I've touched on this already, but CTE programs range within the 16 career clusters. So we even have agriculture programs here in the city. I believe it's in Queens, if I'm not mistaken. But any career cluster that you can think about, we do have CTE programs. So please take a look at some of the resources we'll be sharing with you. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned earlier, we really want to ensure that all of our English language learners and multilingual learners have access to this information. Why? Because research has shown, right, that our ELs, English language learners, have higher school completion and attainment rates when they go through CTE programs. We also know that CTE prepares multilingual learners for in-demand occupations, right? And these occupations tend to have higher wages, and they tend to be in high growth areas. So these are some of the benefits for our multilingual learners. And lastly, we know that CTE provides multilingual learners with real world opportunities to explore, engage, and pursue rewarding careers. So I believe CTE is just a really engaging form of education, which is beneficial to our multilingual and English language learners. I just want to show you some data as to why sharing this information is important. So within, this is data from our team. And so within, the high school enrollment, we have 2,828,000, over 28,000 students that are in CTE, but out of those numbers, only 2,000, a little over 2,000 are English language learners. And this is a very disproportionate number, which we want to change. And we can change it by sharing the information, by making sure that our multilingual families know that this is accessible to them and that they can pursue it. I do look forward to a day where this data looks different. And so we need your help in sharing the information. Next slide. So some of the resources we've created to share the story about CTE is we've created a one-pager, right, that tells you what CTE is, and just all of the information I've shared, and also some resources. And this particular resource comes in 10 different languages. You have access to it, so please feel free to share it with your families. This is a really great time as they're looking into, what high schools am I going to, especially for those who are in middle schools. So please share. The other thing that is really important is that in the fall, we offer a 3-part learning series focused on CTE, where we invite someone from the high school admissions office to talk about high school admissions. So this is a great opportunity to for you to learn more about the high school admission process, but also as it relates to English language learners and some of the challenges they may experience along the way. We also talk about career and technical education in depth, right? What is it and what are the benefits? We go deeper than what I've shared with you. And then lastly, we talk about how can you use all of this information to get students career ready as they journey through high school and even through, school in general. So this is a very great professional learning series, which I will encourage all of you to participate in the fall. There is an interest form that you can fill out. So please fill out that form. Let me know that you're interested so that as soon as, we release the dates, I'll be sharing that information with you. Next slide, please. Another resource that we have created is sharing information about where you can find CTE programs in each borough. So what you see on the screen right now is just a screenshot of the resource that is for the for Queens, but we do have resources that tells you all the CTE programs that are in the Bronx and Brooklyn. So this is also something you can print and share with your families as they consider which high schools or career and technical education programs they might be interested in. Next slide, please. So this is the resource hub that I was telling you about. We have so much information out here. I have also included some of the presentations we did last year. So you would have, the recordings of some of those PL series I mentioned. You also have access to the CTE one pager. You have access to the CTE market labor tool. You have access to the CTE programs by the Borough Resource and so many others. So please feel free to explore this resource and reach out if you have any trouble accessing any of the links or reaching any of the information. Next slide. I think I need to hurry. We're almost at time. I just also want to take this opportunity to share a bit more about some of the career readiness opportunities that we have. The first one that I'm going to talk about is what we call the On-Site Career Discovery Program. So, this is a series of field trips that are carefully designed to expose multilingual and immigrant students to in-demand careers within high growth industries. And we're doing this very intentionally. We want to connect our students to role models that share their social, cultural, and linguistic backgrounds, right? And the goal of this is that by the time students go through these series of field trips, that they would have acquired the knowledge and the understanding they need to make informed career and post-secondary decisions. I'll give you one quick example. We took students to the American Heart Association. And because we are mindful of their cultural background as well as the languages they speak, we invited doctors that, this particular school had a lot of newcomers. So most of the students spoke Spanish. And so all of the presentation was done in Spanish. Normally, when you go to a company, everyone is speaking in English. There is really no care for who understands or not. But this time we were very intentional as to catering to the linguistic needs of our students. So this is what this on-site career discovery is about. It's really tailored for multilingual learners to inspire them. The next one I'm also going to share with you is what we call the Global Leaders Academy. And this is a summer program as of now, but we're hoping to expand it into schools so that we can reach more students. But it is a 6-week summer program that is designed to expose young people, English language learners, multilingual learners to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, right? And we want to help them develop their leadership, language, and develop skills in the 21st century. Develop 21st century skills, including AI. And this program was launched last year. We are going to do it again this year. And it was just incredible to see young people again using their language skills, feeling comfortable, bringing all that they are. These students come from all over the world. So bringing their experiences, to this program has been really life changing. And they got to meet like diplomats, they got to meet so many people. So this is another program that you can invite your students to apply to. I put links to the flyer just so that you can read a little bit more about it. But as you share your information with us, we will share the application once it's launched for next year. Let me go a little faster. The next opportunity is the Career Connect Expo. We did this just once this year. It's the first time we did it, and it was really successful. We partnered with an organization called Career Day Inc., and we were able to invite professionals from so many different fields to speak with students. We had almost 200 students participating in this, and it was just incredible for students to hear from people that share their same background and have been able to navigate their careers in America. So we are looking forward to hopefully doing this next year, and we would love to share that information with you as we get your information. And then lastly, we have the Beam Apprenticeship Program, which happens in the spring. And this program has three components to it. There is one component of career exploration where we engage students in a series of hands-on projects. So there are students who like to use their hands. So they get involved in hands-on projects. They're able to create unique objects and really engage in authentic conversations. And then there is also the training aspect of this, where students are trained to become mentors to younger people. And this is where they get to develop their leadership skills. And then finally, after they have done the training, they get the opportunity to work in the summer through this program. And so this summer, we have 36 students who are going to be working and getting paid in the summer. So it's almost like you're getting trained to be able to work. And it's just an amazing program. So these are all things happening, very exciting. And we want you to engage your students with all of these. So next slide, please. We're almost there. So I talked about, the PL series that I'd like you to pre-register for. The link is in the presentation, but we're also going to be dropping it for you. Please pre-register, and I'll reach out to you once we have determined a date for it. And also the on-site career discovery program that I mentioned. We want to provide this for as many students as possible. So please also sign up. Let me know if you're interested. I'm also asking, like, if you have like a dream company that you are like, I really want my students to go to this company, send that my way, and let me see if I can make it happen for the students. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you about that. And then lastly, Lois, do you want to take this one?
Sure. I was trying to just reply to everyone. So
Oh.
we've shared but yeah, it's good. We've shared the links to the slides. A lot of people were like, sign me up. I want to share can you send this to my AP? And you are the emissaries. You can send these to your APs. You have the links, you have access, you have our bit.ly/DML-MISST. All of that is available to you, and you can get access to any of our content. We update everything on our calendar regularly. Also, we encourage you to please sign up for Multilingual Monthly. That is a place where we put all of these opportunities and all of these like applications that are open and then closed. We put all of them in the Multilingual Monthly. So please click that hyperlink that you'll also see in the slide deck. We have about 3 minutes left. So we just want to thank you. All of these places, sorry, gotta calm down, even though we have 2 minutes left. I want to just say, like, Florence and I are so thrilled to provide you with this information, to present this content to you. And we are here all the time. We are available through the Division of Multilingual Learners website. All of our content, all of our offerings, we offer them to everyone all the time. So please feel free to use these to access our materials. And also part of the reason why we shared in the very beginning so many other parts of the team is because we want you to know that the Division of Multilingual Learners has content for your your content specialty areas. We have we have access to folks who focus on the special ed portion of what is available for multilingual learners. We have folks who, I think there's a better term than special ed, students with disabilities. We are thinking about that, and we also have access to other folks who are thinking about that. So please, please, please complete our feedback survey. Please make yourself available to all of these resources that are evergreen. These resources are being updated every single month. We reprint a Multilingual Monthly. So thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We want to hear from you.
Yes.
And I know people drop their emails in the chat. We don't have access to this, so please complete our forms so that we have your information. And you also have our email addresses, but if you don't, I'm going to drop mine in the chat right now.
And thank you everybody who reposted all of our the links to the slides and also the links to the survey. We really appreciate your support. Here are the slides and here's the survey.
Oh,
so
yay. Thank
take
you.
those. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great
Okay.
one.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.